Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we'll be doing a webinar of our new behavioral-based safety BBS application. And thank you for joining us. If you'll notice, there is a Q&A if you are signing in on the application. You can type in any questions that you have, and we'll be stopping intermittently to answer any questions that come up throughout the presentation. If you are joining through the web application, you may not have the Q&A on available to you, but I'll be happy to take any emails if you'd like to email me, and I'll keep my eye out posted for that, and we can answer those questions as well. My email is jenniferw@moreauxms.com. This recording will be available to you in the next few days. And you could be on the lookout for it and rewatch it whenever you need to. Now, Miriam is going to start our presentation, and she is going to go over our BBS application. We hope that you enjoy it. And again, feel free to type any questions into the chat. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Just a little thumbs up, maybe. All right, so I take it everybody's good. You can hear me. Okay, thank you. I will start. Well, thank you again, like Jennifer said, for attending the webinar. And I'm gonna try to move fast because there's a lot to cover in this 1 hour, and I wanna leave some time for Q&A. So we're gonna start with the settings. We've had a few webinars now. Oh, yes. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, so now I'm sharing my screen. So yeah, we've had a few webinars, and we found that the best thing is to start with the settings. So that's where I'm going to start. And as you know, the BBS is under the HSC tab. If you have that tab, it might be called HSC or might be called HSCQ or something similar. But it's usually where you can find the BBS app. If you already had the old one, this must be called BBS New until the data is moved, but I believe almost everybody has just the BBS app. So here on the settings, you're gonna find these various tabs. So let's start with the general settings tab. You can customize how you call your BBS, I guess, submissions. The default is going to be the BBS and the number 1. And so that's what you're going to have when people add it, and it's going to be consecutive. So you could start at 100 if you wanted to. You could enter on the BBS safe and observations or unsafe, and this is just to declare what the default is. So if you want to always default to unsafe because that's what most people enter, then you can just do that, or if not, you can switch it to the safe. BBS type, there is 2. There is either an observation or a hazard. Again, if most people enter observations, then you can just have it default to that, or maybe your company doesn't even enter hazards, so observations will be fine. Now, this is whether you also want to allow people to track the be anonymous or default always to anonymous. If the practice in your company is to not show the person who entered the BBS, then you can check this. If not, you can just uncheck it, and so you will always record and show the name of the person. Now, each person, when a user, when they go and submit a BBS, they can always check the anonymous if they don't want to give their name. This is a control for the day format. If you're in a country where perhaps you have the day first and then the month, you can select this day, and then everywhere where there is a day, then that's going to change. You can also have, these different formats here. We leave it just the way we do it here in the US, which is the month, day, and the year. All right, so then in the when you are filling out a BBS, you have the choice to select which locations are available. So if you have a manufacturing company where most people just work there and not at a customer location or even do maybe visits to supplier, then you can turn these other locations off, and then they will never really be shown, and even set up a default here maybe for your company. And then just turn everything off. But if you are maybe a services company that actually go on location to your customers or even do audits of your suppliers, then you can turn all of these on. When you do that, they will show up, and I will be showing how to add a BBS, and then you will see that. And the customer list will pull from the customer contacts app. So all of the locations or a lot of your customers that you have uploaded will show, and the suppliers will also pull from your approved supplier list. And the other will just be anything you want to enter. Now, the BBS has a lot of functionality, and here is where you can decide whether you want to make use of that. If you just want people to enter a BBS without even going through any approval process, just enter them and that's it, then you can turn this off and there won't be any approval required. If you don't want to keep track of who enter BBSs and even give them any incentives or bonus, then you can turn this off. If you don't want to keep track of the rating, like one BBS versus another, which one is better, then you can turn this off. And there is the showcase functionality. For today's purposes of the webinar, I'm going to turn this on, but you can always turn those off if you don't want to make use or you don't have the resources yet to be tracking those. And then there's also settings for actions. Out of each BBS, you are able to create actions to follow up in case there is perhaps a need to assign actions because maybe it's a serious issue. And so you can have a default of 7 days for action and 14 days for verification, but you can change these. And then there is a default for pagination results. So how many BBS you show. Default is 50 on the landing page in the report, but you can change it to 25 or 100 if you wanted to see more. So those are the general settings. Now let's move to the fields control. The fields control allows you to really turn off a lot and optimize the screen to what your company really uses. So for example, if you don't want to use an observation category, that doesn't mean anything to you, and the options are here, then you can just turn that off. Or maybe you want to turn it on, but you're like, I don't want to make this required because I don't want my people to have to select anything if they don't want to. If they just want to enter what they observe and that's it, then that's all you want, and don't make it required. And all of these, you can turn it off. Like maybe you don't want to see severity, and maybe you don't want to see tasks, and maybe you don't want to see a stop work. These are all configurable fields in the sense that you can turn them off here and don't make use of it. They won't show up on the system or on the Add BBS page, or you can actually turn it on and even make it required if you want to. And the options for those are below. So for the observation category, the default when the app comes out of the box is all of these. You can edit them, you can change the name, you can delete them, or you can even add more categories. For the hazard type, same thing. For the potential impact, there's a few here, but you can add more, you can delete some. if you want to. For severity, we just have high, low, and medium, but you can always make more, I guess, options or delete anything that you don't want to use. For most of these, if you want to use them, there has to be at least one option. But you have all of these that you can increase, decrease, change the name, and turn on and off or on off here. Now, this one here, observation category, is repeated. So this is something that we're going to be removing. So I'll move to the incentive program. So like I mentioned before, this is a function of BBS that you are welcome to use. What it does is it counts points. It gives points to users depending on what happened to that BBS. So when they submit, for example, the default is 5 points. So they get assigned 5 points. If it gets approved, if you are using the approval function, they get 5 points. If it gets rejected, they get nothing. If it is rated and they get 1 star, then they get 1 point, 2 points, etc. And if it gets showcased, which I will also talk about, then it gets even another point. So they could be accumulating points for later incentives or bonus that your company might give on a quarterly basis or maybe on a yearly basis. You can change these numbers as you wish and just use that for your company. All right, so that's one more thing just on the imports. If you had BBS that you wanted to bring, you will use this import function on the right. And here is a sample of the Excel spreadsheet that you will have to fill out with showing you the required fields. And oops, okay, so I gotta make sure it is there. And then you will upload it and it will actually just import all of your BBS. All right, so very good. Let's continue. So now let's go ahead and add a BBS. So all users should have access to this control here or this link to add a BBS. Now, here is where you will see that all these fields come through, but if I would have turned them off, none of these will show. So you can compact this screen and make it more tailored to your company or just less crowded if it is something that it doesn't really is relevant to your industry. For example, again, if you're a manufacturing and not a services company, maybe rig operator, rig number, that it's not relevant to you, turn them all off in the settings. Another thing, if you can see here that it defaults to unsafe because that's what I left the default in the settings. So if I was to choose a safe, you can see that all the fields that were related to unsafe just kind of go away. But if I go back to being a safe BBS, then this portion here comes back. So we're going to fill one, we're going to submit a BBS that is unsafe. So we're going to say unsafe, it's an observation. And then the day just defaults to now and the time. Now this time and the actual GMT time was added to the to this app because we have many customers who do jobs worldwide or on the field worldwide. And so for them, it was relevant to know where did this happen. So here you can put the description of the actual observation. So I'm going to just put that here. By the way, you can see here the anonymous. So if I was providing my feedback, submitting a BBS, I could always click on this anonymous and then my name won't be shown. And of course, I will not get points if the company was tracking incentives, but that might be what I choose to do. So here is my observation. You have some fields or some functionality where you can make things bold. If I wanted to, I can make bullets. There's a lot that you can do. But if you just want to enter something, then you can do that. Now here you can see that field observation category with all of the options. I can choose anything that I want, and I can even drag and drop. Yes, I need this here. I'm going to drag one of the. Okay, I'm just gonna drag a picture of. I just need a picture. I'll just. So whatever picture, if a user wants to submit, they can even upload something from their phones. They can go to their phone library and just upload a picture or a file, whatever they have. They can just drag and drop. All right, so now I go to the unsafe behavior. You can see that some fields are required, some fields are not required because all of that was set by the BBS admin. And so I'm just gonna have to fill the ones that are required. And I can say, no, I don't have to fill anything else if I don't want to. Or I can if I wanna provide more information. And so here is the location. None of this is really required, so I could just submit it. But if I know where this happened, and for example, if it happened at a customer site and it comes default to customer, I could select from the list of customers that were that are available in the customer contacts app, which are showing here. All right, so that is it. So I'm ready to submit. I'm going to submit. And now as a user, I will be done. Now I was entering that as an admin, but I could have entered as a user. Okay, so now the BBS is submitted. It's going to be showing here at the top. And so you can see here the, and I was going to enter another one, but
You entered unsafe, and you can enter safe.
Safe, yes, yes. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to enter one as a user, just so that we can see a difference. So now I'm a regular user. I don't have administrative rights. I can go and add, and I'm going to enter a safe observation. So a lot of this goes away. And, oh, actually, what I entered was a safe. Okay. I just will enter this one and it's an unsafe, and now it's gonna look good. But yeah. Anyways, we can see if you can edit it and change it. So this one I'm just gonna enter in the company because it's something that happened in the company, and I can put the company location. So the locations in our company will come, and I can just choose our location and I can submit. Oh, I have to select this category. Maybe I'll select PP. All right. So now you can see also that this was submitted here and that it hasn't been rated and it hasn't been approved. So let me go back to the admin. And now the admin can go and can see, oops, that was already one approved. Okay, so here are the two. Now the admin or even the user can go into one of them, and actually they can see the detailed BBS. So you can see here is pending rating. It is unsafe. You can see all the information here. Yep, the information of what came through. And I have, because I'm an admin, I can approve or reject because the company is using the function of approving and rejecting, right? I can also go to my task. Oops, this is the other one. I can also go to my task and I could see BBS cards pending approval, and I will see both the 7 and the 8 waiting for me. I can approve it from the detail, but I can also bulk approve, like I can go here and just approve them at once. I can even just approve them one by one from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and approve these two. Now, look that here, BBS cards pending rating, there is only one. So once I approve these two, now they are here under rating because the company is also using the rating functionality. And so here I can also rate just one by one, or I can also rate in bulk. Like if I feel all of these are threes, I could just do that. Or yeah, I could have done 3 or 4. I guess I could just do it fast. Or like I said, I could click and let me go back. This one was 8. So now I'm going to go back. And the 8 here is not rated yet. I can always go in, read it again, see that everything is good, and I can just rate it right there. So actually, I'll give this 4 stars. All right, so now that we are done with the rating, let me just explain a little more about this landing page. So you can see here the ID of the BBS, the date of the BBS, which is when the observation was made, not necessarily when it was submitted, because I could have submitted today, but the actual observation could have been done a week ago. The type, so we had one safe, one unsafe, even though we mixed up the description. The BBS location, you can see one was at the customer side and one was just in our company location, who submitted it, the description, the rating, and the status. And right now, both of them are good because really they both were just submitted, approved, rated, everything looks good. But let's say here on this one, I want to follow up because the salesman didn't do a good job bringing the people through the factory and actually not wearing the proper ESD. So I could go and I could say add actions. And here I'm going to go and add some actions. Okay. So one of my actions is going to be review with the salesman the reason for his behavior and not adhering to the protocols. So this is just an action for somebody, and I can decide here who should follow up. Now, it will show me all the people on the site, so I can say, well, maybe Jennifer, you need to follow up with the salesman. And the action due date and the verification due date, as you can see, they already default to what we have put on the settings, which is 7 days from now, and this is 15 days from now. And the action verification, I can choose, for example, let's have Albert Renders do that. Okay, and so I'm gonna submit. Now they will also be getting emails. So at first, when the BBS is submitted, the admin gets the email, but now these individuals, or at least Jennifer first, will get an email letting them know that there is an action waiting for her. And let me add another action because I need to actually assign to the user. And this one, I'm going to assign to Albert Renders first, and then I will assign myself as the verifier, and I can change this. Okay, and then I'm going to submit. All right, so now we have this BBS with 2 actions to follow up. If I go and look at my task, I was assigned an action, so I will see somewhere here, BBS cards pending action and verification, that I have this action for me to follow up on. Now I'm going to show the email. Let's see if I can. Okay, here we go. So here is an action for the Miro user, letting them know that there is a observation and this is their action. So they get notified that there's an action waiting for them. And if I go, actually, let me go here. If I go as a user who's not an administrator and I look at my tasks, I should see also there is this here, pending actions and verifications right here. So there's actually one from before, but one right here. So it's action -2. That's the action waiting for me. All right, very good. So, and of course, to follow up on that, I could click here. Let me click on this one. Now I'm back here. And if I am ready to complete the action as an admin, I can complete anybody's action, by the way. I can look here at the history and I can see the request. But let's say I want to complete this action or maybe the other action. Yeah, I'm going to complete this action. Okay, I can just put my comments. So I talk to the salesman. And I can upload anything if I want to, or if not, I can just say submit. I can save it also. Maybe I want to come back later and add more. And you can see now that the button, it says complete verification. So for the next person in line, they will be doing that and receiving an email. And you can see the history here that this action was assigned to Jennifer, but it was completed by me on this date. And these were my comments. Any questions so far? Not yet. Okay, so let me go to, well, I'm probably gonna switch gears. Now we did the approve, we did the rating, we added an action, we just need to do the action verification. So I'm going to refresh here and Miro user should have one action waiting for verification right here. So you can assign to anybody, even a user that is not an admin, which is this person here. So I'm gonna go to this and you can see that this is my button here. On this action, I need to do complete the action, but in this other action here, I need to complete the verification. So I can do that. I can say, yes, I review the communication email. Maybe that happened. I can also upload. I can see what was the actual original action and what did the person who conducted it said. And then I can put my comment. I could reject or I can approve. So now I'm going to submit. And if I look at the history, now it shows that verification was assigned to Albert Renders, and actually Albert Renders did, which was Miro user, and accepted. And so that particular one is done. Now, if we go back to this BBS 8 on the, let's go on the landing page, you will see that it's still amber because it is still pending one action, right? One action was fully completed with action and verification, but there's still another issue that was assigned that is still pending. All right, so let's move on to, I guess, go back to my task. Actually, we did that. We're going to go to showcase. So now if we go back to my task, admins have this additional tab, which is called showcase. So here you will see all of the BBS that have been submitted that have never been showcased. Showcase is a way for you to talk about these BBS or these observations that have been submitted by your users. So let's say you have safety meeting once a month and you want some topics to discuss. You can come here and say, well, I'm going to select a few of these cars to talk about. So maybe you want to select all the cars that have a rating of 4, and look what comes up. It's our BBS-A that we enter, right? So whether it's a safe, unsafe, hazard, or observation, you want to talk about it. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to move it to my short list. Basically, this is what it is. It's just like a short list of very good examples of safety topics that I want to talk during my safety meeting. So when the safety meeting comes up, I will talk about this. And as I go and discuss them, I can click on them, I will remember about them, I will talk about them. And when I am done, I can just mark them as I talk about it. And if I say, yeah, maybe I run out of time and I only talk about one of them, I can tag it as showcase. Now that BBS card will be removed from here because obviously it was already showcased. And this is how the person gets the points, the user, because you can see that they submitted a BBS card, it got approved, it got rated with 4 stars, and it even was showcased. And so all of that is points for the user, because you want to promote, of course, safety culture. Now, if I go to the reports, you have a list of BBS cards that were showcased. And you can see that the one that I actually had showcased was 5. So I could have added other ones. But anyways, that's what it is. So that's what it means to showcase. So it's a handy tool for safety, I guess, positions that are in safety and that have to promote and be in charge of promoting the safety culture. So while we are on the BBS reports, let me talk about the reports we have available. So we have employee submissions. So this is just the same thing that you could probably look on the landing page, but it is sorted differently. Here is sorted by employee. So I could see, for example, this employee, all the BBS cards they have submitted and what the rating was and whether it was showcased or not. And I can just see that for all of these employees. And I can also separate it by location or filter it by location. The BBS showcase card, which I already explained, you also can see any rejected BBS. So if you do reject a BBS card, you will see them here. They will not be showing on the landing page and will not be showing as something to showcase. And that is possible that people maybe entered by accident duplicates, or maybe there could be another situation. And then these are just a list of the observations that were made without any filter or without the employee. It's really just like a compendium if you want to try to extract a word or something, and the same thing for hazards. And we hope that in the future we'll be able to use some AI to maybe give you some ability to find some trends. All right, and then last thing we have here is the KPIs. Oh, actually, there's one more thing I didn't show. So the KPIs, you have different KPIs. You have filters here, which are locations, BBS types, which is the observational hazards, the behaviors, and this is where where the observation was made, and the date range. So you have various different KPIs, which these are all up to the second. So if somebody is entering a BBS card right now, you will actually have these charts being updated. And the last thing that I missed when I was talking about the landing was that you have 2 views, which is the list view that we are seeing now, and the card view, which just shows the BBS by card. So it's maybe something that you like to see in a different view. You can see which ones are pending rating, which ones are pending approval, or if this it has this, it means it's been approved. If it has both, it means it hasn't been approved. I think I covered everything.
Did you cover the BBS unsafe hazards today?
I didn't cover the hazards. I just did observations, but it will be a very similar situation. Like if I go here and add, I will just select the hazard, and depending on whether it's safe or unsafe and what fields you configure in settings, then those fields will show up. Good question. Good observation. Oh, yes, if you filled anything out and you are leaving, it will prompt you, hey, you did something. You sure you don't want to save? So yes, I'm okay. And of course, here on the landing, you do have column pickers. If you want to change what columns you want to show on the landing page, you can turn some off or some on. If country is important for you, again, maybe you're a services company doing business in various countries and having field technicians, and maybe that's something you want to show. Maybe rating is not something you're using, you don't want to have it, you update it, and now you can see that here. You can print, you can download what you see here, and you can search as well. All right, so
Any questions that we still have today? Let's see here. I'm gonna do something.
I'm gonna turn my mic off and then you can turn it on. You want to?
Thank you all for joining us today for our BBS application. If anyone has any questions, we're happy to hear your questions. You can tap one in the discussion or email myself at jenniferw@moreauxms.com. We look forward to any feedback that you have from this application. And thank you and have a wonderful day.